everybody. Welcome. Happy Monday. Happy July 28th. This is Luvafoodie LinkedIn Live. I'm your host, Michelle Mazzara. And I know it's been several months since I've done a LinkedIn Live show. So welcome. I'm happy to be back. I have a special show today. I used to be doing this every Monday, but things got kind of crazy with my life and my business. So when I have a special guest like I do today and a special topic like I do today, then it's worth me taking the time to share and talk to everybody. But before we get started, I want to say happy summer, and we're in the throes of a hot July, and I want to offer everybody a special summer promotion. It's good today only. You can buy on any website. You can buy on luvafoodie.com, amazon.com, walmart.com, lowes.com. And here's the deal. It's a great value. It's about a $17 value. If you buy anything today on any of the websites, as long as I get the order by midnight today, and this is going to be blurry, so I apologize, but you're going to get a free Lemon Lovers Black Tea Instant Cold Brew Iced Tea. It's perfect for the hot summer Julys and the August that we're going into right now. So once again, it's good only today, July 28th. Shop on any website, buy 2-pack, 4-pack, buy whatever you want, and you will get a free Lemon Lovers in your order. So before I introduce Adrienne O'Brien, who's my special guest today, I want to take everybody back to October 31st, 2024. It was the first snowfall in Minnesota. And as many of you know who live in a climate where there's snow, the very first snow of the season, people drive like crazy, right? They forgot how to drive in the snow. They're in a rush. They think it's just going to be a regular driving day, and it's not. So I want to tell you what happened to me personally. I have not shared this on Facebook or any social media or on LinkedIn. I'm a pretty open person, but this kind of took me for a whirl, I'll say. So it was October 31st, Halloween, and it was about 1:00, and it was a very sticky snow that had just started. It was that wet, sticky snow that you can make a great snowball out of, and it had started to snow around 1:00. And it was coming down quite heavy, and I had an appointment at 1:30 that I had to go to. So I was in my car. Normally, because I can kind of control my schedule, unless I have a meeting, I will not tend to go out in a snowstorm, especially when I have one. But I had a meeting. So it was 1:00 in the afternoon that it was starting to snow. It was literally, I got on the freeway. And those of you that live in the Twin Cities, I was going north on 35E. And I was driving in the right lane. So there's 3 lanes. And I was going to my appointment at 1:30. And at 1:10, as I was driving, my car was hit. And what happened is the car, I'm going to try to explain this to you. My car went across 35E, hit the guardrail that separates the 2 highways going, both directions, hit the guardrail, then went backwards and hit this guardrail. So the impact of the car was 1, 2, 3. And when I was going backwards across 35E, all the cars were still coming, ongoing in the traffic. But when I was going backwards, I could see in the rear view in my mirror that I was going backwards, and I thought I was going to go over the freeway. I didn't know that the guardrail was going to stop my car. And I said to myself 3 times, because I really felt this, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. And I had this feeling, this is it. And this is the 3rd time in my life where I thought I was going to die. And it's a very strange, scary feeling. If you've never felt like you were going to die before, I really can't describe it other than it's fear. And all of a sudden the car stopped. And so my car was facing out on 35E this way, and the cars were coming this way. I don't know if this makes sense. I'm trying to explain it. Anyway, I went into immediate kind of shock, and I started kind of having a panic attack. And the guy behind me, he was like a delivery guy. He had some kind of truck, and he had a camcorder in his car, so he recorded it all. But he came up to my window And I was really like quite upset. And he said, "I'll call the state patrol. You just sit tight." And um, when you get an accident on the freeway, the state patrol comes versus the cop. So the person who hit me, her car was facing her car went across 35E2 and was facing this way on in the incoming traffic also, but against the guardrail across. So it was like this, and I was like this at the end. So what happened is a 21-year-old who actually lives in the same city that I live in did not have, this was all caught on the camera from the guy that was behind me in the van. She did not have her window cleared, the front and the back all had snow on it. So her vision was impaired. But more importantly, this 21-year-old was texting. She was on her phone. She was looking down at her phone. And that's when she hit me. And so number one, I'm going to talk about you do not text and drive. You do not text and drive in a snowstorm. You don't text and drive on a freeway. But this was a 21-year-old girl who, I don't know how long had she been driving, felt probably like she can do it because that's what a lot of young people do. So I fortunately was not severely injured. I did suffer whiplash. I did go to the ER, the urgency room. I did have x-rays. I didn't know if I had a concussion or what I had. So my doctor referred me to, I have to look and get this right, Spine, Sport, and Health. And I started getting chiropractic for the first time in my life. I'd never seen a chiropractor. Dr. Trent Stromey, and now for my special guest, Adrienne O'Brien, who's a licensed specialist in car accidents specifically, but she also does yoga too. She does many things. And I started getting treatment for whiplash and some of my injuries. So welcome, Adrienne.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for sharing that story. Like, I know car accidents can really not be an easy thing to talk about, even so long later.
Yeah. Well, it is, I still get upset when I think about it. That happened October 31st, and November and December for me were really tough. I mean, I had to get through the holidays, but my car was totaled, by the way, everybody. I had to go and when you get in a car accident, it's towed to like a demolition place, and then you have to go identify it and get your stuff out. And then it was deemed totaled by the insurance company. It was not fixable. But so I didn't want to drive. Most of December. And certainly if there was any snow, I didn't drive. And when I did get a new car that replaced the old car, it sat in my garage for 4 weeks. It was the same model, or actually it was a little bit different model, but the same make as the old car. And so I was borrowing a car in the family, and I just didn't want to drive. So Adrienne, let's talk about your background. How long have you been doing massage, and how did you get into kind of honing in on car accident injuries?
Okay. Well, I've been doing massage since 2016, so coming up on about 9 years now. I got my start at a franchise for like a little over a year and started this business at the end of 2017. That's when I started with Dr. Trent at Spine and Sport Health. I rent a room from them. We work together a lot, especially on a lot of these auto cases, but technically I'm my own business. I started specializing in auto cases like almost right away. Like Dr. Trent seemed to have a lot of them, and he's very good with working with whiplash and auto injuries. But part of the reason that I got really passionate about it is because I was in 3 car accidents when I was in high school. Makes me sound like a terrible driver. I mean, every 16-year-old's a bad driver. Sorry if you're 16. Yes. But only the first one was my fault. Like the first one was like 3 weeks after I got my license. I was lost. This was before the days of GPS. So I had like a paper map. I didn't have my cell phone because it's not something you didn't really carry around at the time. So I was in a part of town I wasn't really familiar with and trying to figure out where to go. And it was lightly snowing, but the roads weren't quite bad yet. And I was going to turn off onto a road so I could sit down and look at this map and T-bone someone. My car was also totaled, had pretty bad whiplash. I think my ego was the most hurt, but everybody walked out fine. Then a few months later that spring, got access to a new car and got rear-ended like 3 weeks after getting it, ironically. That one wasn't my fault. I was waiting to take a left turn. I was sitting still with my blinker on where I was supposed to, and somebody was texting and driving, came up behind me, didn't even slow down, and I was kind of looking at my rear view mirror and remember thinking, like, is that person gonna hit me? And then he hits me, and I just remember like screaming in my car because it re-triggered that post-traumatic stress. Again, everybody walked out fine. His car was totaled. And of course, this was like 2005. So he's telling me, like, I'm sorry, I just looked down to like send this text and I didn't see you, because texting and driving was not the thing that it is today, but
Right.
It's always been a thing. We just know now, should know. And then again, I had really bad whiplash. I remember for a few days, it was like really hard to move, like my back and neck hurt. But I think the general idea back then was like, oh, I'm 16, I'll walk it off, I'll be fine. So I just kind of went back, like kind of the acute pain went away. And then a few months later, I was I was like a passenger in a car and the driver rear-ended someone. And that one was pretty small, like just everyone's bumpers were damaged, pulled over, police were called, but everybody drove away just fine. But I remember after that, like I did not want to drive. Like I was done with it. My dad would try and get me to drive, but I'd be, like white knuckling the steering wheel going 30 and a 50. And he'd just be like, you got to drive a little bit faster. And I'm like, nope, no, I don't have to.
Exactly.
Driving became this like really terrifying experience for a while. I managed to like drive to school because I was like 3 miles away from where I live, but really for a while, like didn't want to drive outside my bubble. And it just took, exposure after a while. Like I kind of got used to it, but I do remember even like a few years later, if I wasn't in the driver's seat and someone else was driving, I'd be like so hyper vigilant. Like, are they going to stop? Are they going to hit this person? Like it probably still is to this day.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, in fact, all winter long, if it was going to snow, I'm not going to leave my house. And even like last night, those of you that live in the Twin Cities, there was going to be a thunderstorm and maybe golf ball size hail. And I was out and I was at somebody's house and I saw that the weather was starting to change. And I'm like, I gotta go. I have this like almost internal panic attack because I'm afraid that even though I'm a great driver, I've never had a ticket, a speeding ticket, I guess once when I was in my 20s, that somebody's going to hit me, whether it's snowing or raining or, so I think you do internalize that fear and it stays with you. And, I don't know. I mean, do you still have it after all these years? Because I don't know how long it's going to take me to get rid of the fear or if I'll ever get rid of it.
Not as much anymore. Like I'm pretty good now. I think it took me a while because like I was a very new driver when all this happened. So I didn't have like years of experience telling me like, most of the time it's kind of fine. And then sometimes things happen. But yeah, I think, eventually I did get rid of it. I think I am a little like, I don't text and drive. I do pay attention. Like I do think it kind of instilled that like, hypervigilance in me. I don't know if that's the right word, but it was an early experience that like kind of taught me a lot.
Right.
About driving. And you can't really control what other people do, unfortunately. Like I do think I'm having a slew of people this year who are getting hit by other drivers just doing stupid things like texting and driving. And I have another person I'm working with who was hit by a drunk driver. And, that seems to be on the rise.
And and I'm fortunate. The girl who hit me, she was okay. I mean, I don't know if she suffered, she was able to walk. So she was not, damaged in any severe way. Neither was I. So we're very fortunate. But Adrienne, let's talk about when you have these patients that come in, what are some of the specific injuries that you are seeing? And then how are you treating them versus like just somebody who comes in for a regular massage? Like I know I had whiplash and I know I also like because my right foot was on, it happened so fast, but my right foot was on the gas. So one of the things that, because of the impact, I had shooting pain down my right leg
Mhm.
for several months. So let's talk a little bit about what are some of the injuries you see, and then how do you specifically treat them?
Well, every case is very different because, like you said, it depends on like how you were positioned at the time of the accident. Like, were you looking over your shoulder? Like if you had your foot braced on something and the impact goes up through the leg into the hips, that can affect it. Being hit from behind, hitting something from in front. But there's kind of two big aspects that I look at, and one is like the physical and one's like the neurological. So
Okay.
kind of what we've been talking about is like the nervous system dysregulation that comes with being in a car accident. Even if you were just rear-ended, everybody walks out of their car and we're fine, we're kind of programmed to think like, oh, it wasn't a bad accident, like no ambulances are showing up, no broken bones, like we're good. But on a neurological level, like your sympathetic nervous system, which is like that fight or flight mode, is still activating because it perceives this as an attack. So for months or days or weeks or sometimes longer after an accident, it's like your nervous system is on guard every time you get in a car, because it doesn't think you're just getting in a car to drive to work. It thinks you're like hopping on the back of a predator and driving through enemy territory, and that, something could attack you at any moment. And, in modern life, it's our lives are fairly cushy. We're not like living out in the woods with predators the way our ancestors did. So instead of like, our modern day predators are cars and accidents and angry bosses and social conflict. And, we could go on and on about that. So
Yeah.
when people come in, like they're struggling with a lot of like nervous system dysregulation, like they're having trouble breathing. I have a lot of people who have some trouble sleeping, bad dreams or something and like nightmares or something that are like very common. So the first thing I'm trying to do is like getting that nervous system to calm down and like reminding the body that like it's safe again. So calm room, calm music, just like a very calm environment, and just like allowing that person to breathe again. And this is kind of where my yoga teacher training sometimes kicks in. And then on a physical level, there's whiplash. So it can be a very complicated injury. And like by the time somebody's seeing a massage therapist, like they've already seen a doctor, because in order to get the massage covered by insurance, you need the referral from the doctor. So like, you already saw Dr. Trent, you already saw your general practitioner. So we kind of went through all like the red flags, and, kind of came down to the conclusion that like a lot of the injuries are soft tissue. Which is what happens in whiplash. It's primarily soft tissue injury. So it's a lot of like damage to like the neck and the shoulders. And of course, you have a lot of nerves running through neck and shoulders. So people can have issues with like, like you said, shooting pain to the leg, shooting pain to the fingers. You can get like numbness and heaviness in the fingers. Headaches are very common. Concussion, like a lot of people have concussions. People think of concussion being like, you hit your head on something. And it's not like you don't have to hit your head. It's like your brain rattling in your skull. So concussions are very normal. But then again, as far as like the specific muscles, it really comes down to the person. So I try and get a thorough picture of like what happened at the time of accident, like where did the impact happen from? Like, and again, it's hard to remember. I think you even said yourself, like these things happen so fast. So it's hard to remember.
Right.
Like, were you looking over your right shoulder? Were you looking over your left? Like, did you brace at the time? Did you push your feet onto the floor? But just like as best as people can remember. And sometimes those details like do come back over time. And that'll give me a picture of like, what's the chain of events that happened, and like what muscles, and like what's the kind of kinesthetic line that we're following.
Right. And, for me, in addition to seeing you and Dr. Trent, I also had some procedures done with my orthopedic doctor. For the whiplash, I had an injection in my neck, a steroid injection. And then I had some injections in my lower back, and some other, I actually had quite a few injections from the time of the surgery, or the time of the accident through, I guess, February. And so it's a process. I think when you have a car accident, you sometimes you may need to have some medical things done, like I did, in addition to getting help from a chiropractor, or also like I call you, a pain massage therapist, because I know one of the areas you worked on. What is that muscle that is sort of? Yeah. So tell me,
like right above the hip there.
Yeah. So tell people a little bit about that, because this was the first time Adrian asked me if she could do this area, and I'd never heard of the muscle, number one. And so that's kind of something that is sort of interesting. And how is that connected to the leg? And what was your reason for wanting to treat my muscle there?
I do this muscle on a lot of people, like regardless if they've had an accident or not, just because it gets very ignored. And I know a lot of massage therapists don't like working on it. But it's called the iliopsoas muscle. So it technically attaches your upper body to your lower body. So it starts in the lower back. It kind of like goes through the abdominals to like the inside of the leg. So like kind of your inside thigh, and then up through the hips. So like, the hip bone is like this bowl, and it kind of attaches to like that inside. And it helps you walk. So, like when you're moving your legs forward, if you're lifting your leg to go up a stair, that's kind of like the primary action there. If you're sitting and going to standing, it activates. If you're sitting a lot all day, it kind of sits in a shortened position and gets really tight. It can be connected to a lot of lower back pain. In the instance of car accidents, you have that seatbelt across your lap. So when you go into that, like a lot of, the psoas and even like kind of a lot of the abdominal area, even like the diaphragm can get tight and disrupted there. And we can get a lot of like tissue restriction in that area. So loosening that up, it really has like a chain effect through the whole body, because it's not, it gets targeted a lot for like lower back pain. But if you think it's attached to the lower back, so if it's like pulling that lower back forward, like your upper back and neck and head are all connected to that. So it throws off the alignment of like the entire like upper back, neck, head as well. So it's kind of like a whole body muscle. So it's kind of like starting from the center and kind of relieving everything from there.
Yeah. And it's kind of strange because you're laying there and you've got your blanket over you or your sheet, and you have to lift it up a little bit because it's a part of it's like above your hip bone, right?
Yeah. I usually do it like kind of through the sheet, but kind of depending on what's going on, I might have like the leg undraped and have the client like moving their leg around. And then kind of like I work above the hip bone and then kind of like the center of the abdominal too. So I always tell people like before I'm going to do this too, because like the stomach and abdominals can be a very like guarded area. Not everybody likes to be touched there. So I make sure that my client knows exactly what I'm doing before I go there. I tell you, like, if you don't, and it's not a relaxing muscle to have massage necessarily.
No, it doesn't feel good. The first time you did it, I was like, okay, I trust you. Number one, that's one thing I have to say about Adrienne is right away I had the connection that I trusted her expertise. I trusted what she was going to do. And when she said, can I, do this muscle, I think it will help with your leg pain and your back pain. I said, okay, but it's not like a soothing. It's a lot of pressure point that you're putting there. And, but I think it's really important that and I like Dr. Trent so much too, is that when you are in a car accident and you do need to seek therapy or you need to seek help, you really need to feel that safe environment, because you just got out of an environment that disrupted your world and made you feel very unsafe. Right away, the first time I walked in and I met you and Dr. Trent, I felt really safe. And I'm still seeing both of you, not as often as I was after the accident, but it's just a very safe environment. And so that's one thing I have to really applaud both of you, because it's vulnerable. You're vulnerable. And I'd never seen a chiropractor before, and so I didn't know what to expect. I've obviously seen massage therapists, but so you are a very warm, kind. You asked me a lot of questions the first time we met. I showed you pictures of the car accident, which I'm not going to share on LinkedIn Live, but it actually made MnDOT, the accident. But anyway, I also want to talk about something that you've done that can help everybody who's watching and listening about your new sort of side. It's part of your business, but it's independent of, okay, I want to go get a massage from Adrienne because I was in an accident or I wasn't in an accident. You've got another venue that you're kind of exploring, what you're not exploring, you're offering to people. And let's talk a little bit about what that is and how you've kind of taken a niche on to another area of your business.
Yep. So I help other massage therapists specialize in this as well. It started last year. I started building a course and launched in the spring about how specifically to work with auto insurance for massage therapists. It's covered in 47 states as of right now, depending on, like, Minnesota's a no-fault state, so here it's covered through personal injury protection. Some states have something called MedPay, which is very similar, but it's not required like it is here. Here, everybody has personal injury protection. And massages, like I said, as long as it's recommended by a chiropractor or doctor, and in the case of soft tissue injuries, it pretty much always is or can be, massage can be covered. So I've been working with auto insurance for 7 years now, and this has kind of been my specialty ever since then. So I built a course on how to work with auto insurance for other massage therapists that launched in the spring. It's now available as kind of like a self-paced study course, and I'm available to hold your hand through the process too, because I know it can be a little bit confusing the first time you do it, but it's not what health insurance is. It's a lot more straightforward. They definitely, I think, treat you a little bit better. And I'm also kind of working to expand this. So I'm currently working on a course I'll launch in October as of right now. That's kind of taking that neurosomatic approach to helping people, because, if you read about massage and car accident injuries out there, there are some people who are like, it'll make it worse, it'll make it better. And I'm like, it can make it worse if you don't know what you're doing. So if you don't know how to approach that nervous system dysregulation, if you don't know how to make the person feel safe, because obviously, like, their body thinks they were just attacked. So if they don't feel safe in your presence, then all the good work you can do can backfire. So I'll go through, like, the neurological side of car accidents and what you're dealing with, and then as well as, like, the physical injuries too, and going through all those red flags, and then, like, the muscles that can be disrupted, like what exactly is happening to the muscles on, like, a molecular level, and how massage can help with that.
So, Adrienne, if I'm a massage therapist, can you tell us the website, a little bit about how they can sign up for the course? Because you've pre-recorded, and the reason I think this is so important is that Adrienne has learned how to do the coding, and there's a lot of therapists out there that maybe have somebody come in from a car accident, and they don't want to either deal with that because they don't know how to submit to the insurance company. And so Adrienne's course is very, very, it's a self-taught, it's pre-recorded, but where can they find it? Shout out your website, some of your links, so everybody can.
So my website for that is massageforcaraccidents.com. So right now you can find the insurance billing course on there. You can also find a wait list for, like, the neurosomatic approach course that I'll be launching soon. And my plan, I have, like, other ideas I'm going to, like, continuously work on for the next couple of years. So, like, there's more to come. I'll send you on my email list. I'm getting pretty good with, like, posting on social media. So, like, whether you're a massage therapist looking to specialize in this niche, or if you've been in a car accident yourself and just kind of want to know what you're going through and what the process is, like, I post a lot of good information, like, for both sides there on Instagram and TikTok are kind of my two primary ones. And again, massage for car accidents.
So if I'm on Instagram, I type in massage for accidents.
Massage for car accidents.
Massage for car accidents.
All one word. That's, like, my Instagram handle.
Okay. And what about Facebook?
I'm on Facebook, so my massage business I'm a little bit more active with, but facebook.com/massage for car accidents is for the courses, and then /massage by Adrienne is, like, my massage business on there.
Okay, and with YouTube, do you have a YouTube channel?
I don't. I reserved the name, but I don't have anything on there right now.
Okay. It will be coming.
Exactly. I kind of got all, like, the names, and I'm figure out what platform I'm best with over time.
Yeah. So I have another question for you. Do you see more men, women? I'm just curious. Or is it equal? Or because I'm just going to make a guess. My guess is that men who get in car accidents, just because they're men, unless they're severely injured, probably don't seek out. I'm just making this up because I don't know. But they're kind of like, I can get through this. Is there a percentage of men versus women? I'm just curious.
People ask me that a lot, and I don't know that actually. I do think I see more women, especially for, like, the car accident things. But I do have, men on my schedule as well. For non-car accident clients, like, it's almost close to 50-50.
Okay. And what about age? Is there an age specification that you'll go down to, or how young will you treat, and how I guess you'll treat any
Under
age?
18, I can treat as long as I have parent permission. And
Okay,
if it's so young, a parent needs to be in the room. I wouldn't say I've had a lot of, like, the youngest I've had for a car accident is 14, almost 15.
okay,
And I had one other like 16-year-old a few years ago. And I do like working with the teenagers because, again, I was a teenager who was in an accident. So I can really resonate with what they're going through.
right, right.
Mhm.
Well, Adrian, is there anything else you'd like to share that I may have forgotten to ask you about that you want to share with our viewers today?
Good question. I think we covered the bases of it. Like, I, I really love the approach I've developed over the last several years. Like I said, my yoga teacher training, and through that, I've learned breath work and somatic healing, and that plays such a big role in like the process of this as well. Because we think of car accidents as such like this physical thing, but it affects you on like so much deeper of a level than just like tight muscles or like sprained muscles or whatever the physical side of it is. So I think it's really
Exactly.
important to like approach it from like a holistic perspective.
Right. And like I said, this happened to me right at the end of Halloween, and it really rocked my holidays. I mean, I just couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
In a bad way. I mean, I had to obviously keep going and do everything that I do and be positive, but mentally, I was distraught. I was really, and I don't know if this is common, but I went through an anger stage. I
Yeah,
was
totally common.
angry.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, this shouldn't have happened.
right.
This girl. I mean, I was doing everything possible, going to a meeting. Yes, I was going out in the snow. It was first snowfall of the year, but so that's common to go through it in an anger stage.
Oh yeah, I see it in a lot of people. And we talk about like the mind body connection. Like, you know, I think we used to think that like emotions and thoughts were like so separate from our body, but there's so many studies that link anger to tension headaches, and having headaches, specifically tension headaches after accidents, is super common.
Yeah,
So
I
we,
had headaches for a long time.
yeah, and there could, I mean, there's a lot of physical things going on in the head and neck that cause whiplash, but then there's also like the emotional side of it too. And I see anger in a lot of people, especially the ones who are hit by the reckless drivers, the ones who are hit by the drunk drivers, the ones who are hit by the people who are doing something just so outright stupid that.
Right. And I guess that's the definition of accident. I mean, it shouldn't have happened, but it was, you get up in the morning, you think, okay, at the end of the day, I'm going to do this. And you just don't. Here's my message to all of you: live every day to your fullest. Try to live a healthy, clean lifestyle. But no one's promised tomorrow. No one's promised 5 o'clock at the end of the day, or 7 o'clock, or whatever your quitting time is. And, I think of all the tragedy. I mean, like, thank God I was okay and this girl was okay, and nobody died, and none of the other cars that were ongoing in 35 on 35E were involved in the accident. I mean, it could have been so much worse, so
Mhm.
much worse. But I think, is to live a mindful life, because we are not, and somebody who suffers from heart disease, I know that, I probably won't live as long as maybe you will. I mean, maybe I will, but maybe I won't. So I try to live every day as, mindful as I can, and mindful in my experiences, because there is really no promise for tomorrow. When your time comes, whether it's an accident or it's a disease or whatnot. So um,
Mhm.
that's my message to everybody, and not to drink and drive, not to text and drive, and, just all the people that are trying to make it a racing game, or there's some crazy drivers out there, and I think, and this is just my opinion, since COVID, people have gotten worse.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
I
don't know
think I
why.
googled this once. I think there are actual statistics out there about how people have gotten worse since COVID.
Weird. What's
Yeah.
the phone number that people at the spine and sport massage, that people can call when we're done with the show, make an appointment to see you or Dr. Trent?
952-895-1600. And that's the front desk of Spine and Sport. So it's both of our businesses.
And they can ask for you specifically and make an appointment, or they can ask for Dr. Trent, or they can ask for both. And I know Adrian will check the LinkedIn Live comments to see if there's any specific questions for you. People can contact you through your website.
Yep.
And I want to thank everybody who took their time today to listen to a very important subject to me and to Adrian. And remember our summer special today: buy anything on any website for Luvafoodie, and you get the free Lemon Lovers iced tea. And I will be doing more LinkedIn Live shows when I have an important subject that I feel that it's worth sharing, or sharing an important person with all of you. So happy Monday. Eat clean, drink clean, be well, and stay well.
New Luvafoodie iced tea. 4 clean drinking iced tea flavors. Lemon lovers, passion fruit lovers, raspberry lovers, and blood orange lovers iced tea. Eat clean, be well, and stay well with our clean eating spice blends at Luvafoodie.